Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Danica and I'm the Fit Mom Lifestyle on Instagram, LTK, and TikTok. And today I thought we could do a little catch up in the car. I just want to keep you up to date on what's going on. I haven't been posting as often. I've had some comments and questions, and I just kind of wanted to give you guys an update. So that's what we're gonna do today. I feel safe in my car. Like I feel like I feel very, like it's very casual. I can just chat and there's no fancy lights, there's no nothing, like we're just hanging out in the car. So that's what we're gonna do. And I have a lot to update you on. So first of all, let's just go through like the good stuff. I have some notes here because I definitely didn't want to forget what's been going on. But first of all, like I said, I've been so behind in my vlogs especially. I have vlogs back to March, and I'm gonna get into that in a little bit here, but there's been a few reasons for that. Some of the like simpler reasons is, one, we moved in March, and the vlogs that you're gonna see or that you are seeing currently are that moving process. So that was kind of crazy. And then I guess if you're not new, my dad had a surgery in April. I was not working as of the end of February. So March we moved, April my dad had this surgery, and I was like helping my dad, and just my dad was the main grandparent that would help with my son, and so I was having to do more with my son because I didn't have my dad to help, but it was fine because I wasn't working. So it just, whatever, I was just busy with that. And then my dad had a complication with his surgery, and he passed away in May suddenly. I've had some questions. It was a preventative surgery, so we weren't expecting him to pass, basically. He just had a complication with something that he had done to extend his life. Anyway, so that all kind of happened, and then in June I got a new job and I started my job, and that's been amazing, but just kind of like, again, as you can see, like, you know, February, March, April, May, there's been something every single month. And then we had James in and out of summer camp because my husband and I were both working. And then he just started TK. So he's at a new school, and he's gonna go to another school next year. So my son's, basically, you know, if you're a parent, you know, but there's like a cutoff for when they can start school, and his birthday is right around the cutoff, so he needs to do an extra year, which is no big deal. But he was at his last school for 3 years, from like 18 months to 4.5, and then now he's at this school for a year, and then he'll be at his next school. So just a lot going on for him as well. So that's been kind of crazy. I also, like I mentioned, we moved into my in-laws house. If you haven't seen that, it would have been in a previous vlog, but the moving vlog just went up because, like I said, I'm behind. So we love the house, and I love my job, and James is loving his school. So all those changes were good changes. It's just been a lot of change in a short amount of time. So I started to talk about my dad passing, which obviously I feel like that is, like, if my dad were still here, I think we wouldn't be struggling as much as we are. Obviously, a lot of this is because of him passing. And it's been 3 months about the time you're watching this video. So he passed away May 26th. So August 26th is 3 months. And it's so weird because it feels like it's gone fast, but also very slow. And I feel like it feels like he's missed so much. So it feels like it's been a long time because I talk to my dad like every single day. So 3 months of not talking to somebody is a long time. And like, as I mentioned, there's been so many changes. And so not having him to like update on those things, it just feels like it's been a really long time. But then at the same time, 3 months is not that long. So I feel like I also have to remind myself, like, through the grieving process and stuff, like, it's only been 3 months. So anyway, there's been, like I said, there's been a lot of things, but one of the most difficult things has been like logistics. As far as, like I said, my dad was the main grandparent that helped take care of my son. So that's been really tough, just like navigating, getting help, asking for help. A lot of people are willing to help, but like I'm not good about asking. So that's been tough. I feel like I've kind of taken on a lot that I could definitely have help, but I just, again, that's something I struggle with. The other thing, sorry if I keep touching my hair, it's hot in here, but I didn't want to have the car on because it's so loud. So the other thing was my dad owned his own business, and so we've also been navigating the logistics of like, how do we handle that? What happens with the business? Because he was like the main person. Like, it's just a lot. It's a lot to figure out. Like, we can definitely still keep the business going, but obviously everything's going to change. And again, because this wasn't planned, like, we didn't really have a lot set up because it's not like he was sick or anything. So that's been difficult. Like I mentioned, just helping with James, and then also my sister is away at college, not too far, but my dad would often drive her like to and from school if she needed to come home or if she needed something or whatever. So again, like, there's just so many things that my dad did that now that he's gone, it's like, oh my gosh, who's gonna do that, you know? And so we're all trying to figure that out. The other thing that's just been kind of crazy and difficult is the house. So my sister now is back to school, so she's away at college, and my brother's lives on his own and we live on our own. And so my mom has this huge house that had a family of 5 to herself. And I mean, I know I'm sure a lot of you deal with this with your parents once they're like empty nesters and stuff, but like, my parents planned to live in that house and grow old together, and my dad was only 60, so you know. So again, logistics of caring for the house, and like my mom, it's just a lot of yard to take care of and all that kind of stuff. So my husband has been helping to just do that too. So as you could tell, it's just been kind of crazy, and I kind of just want to fill you in because this is just, it's so hard to talk about, and it's almost like I haven't been present really on social media very much. I haven't been on YouTube very much because it's almost like I'm still in shock and I don't know what to say. Like, not that I have to say anything, but like, I'm still processing, and so it's just so weird. Like, it's just so hard. So one of the other things I wanted to say is, like I said, I talk to my dad almost every day. We texted for sure every day, and like, there's so many things that have happened where I'm like, I just want to text him, like, and I want him to respond, or like, I want to ask my mom, like, oh, what's dad doing, or like, oh, because I talk to my mom a lot, and that's weird. And then we went on our first like family vacation just last week, obviously without my dad, and it was just really weird. And we're like on vacation, and I just keep thinking like, well, where's dad? And I know he's gone, like, I know he's not there, but I don't know, it's just, it's so strange. Yeah, losing, I think, any family member, but it's just when you're close to your parents, it's just really, really hard. Another thing that has been going on that I'm a little overwhelmed about and still trying to figure out, like I mentioned, we just moved into my in-laws' house in March. We've only been there a few months, and we may be moving to live with my mom for a little bit to help her out. So I think that's the right thing to do, but I think, again, I think you can understand if you've lived on your own, if you have your own family, you have your own space. Imagine moving back in with your parents or one of your parents. Like, it's gonna be interesting. So I think we're gonna do that, and I do think it's the best decision, but I'm like, wait, we haven't even unpacked into this current house, and now we're gonna move again. So I don't know. Send prayers and thoughts. So that's that. And then the other thing is, like I mentioned, I feel like it's just been so difficult, and I'm actually proud of myself right now for keeping it together, because I'll just like randomly start crying. Like, out of nowhere. Something will happen. Someone will say something. I will drive past something. It's like crazy how it's like a switch that turns off and all of a sudden you start crying and you're like, what the heck? And then you can't stop. I was in a training for work and someone said something and I like had to leave the room. I just had to walk out because I was like hysterical. We went to a wedding and it was the first wedding that we had gone to. It was as a family, but my dad wasn't there. And I like looked around the room and I realized my dad wasn't there and I like started crying. Like, it's just things like that where it's almost like it just hits you. And it's like grief just like rolls over you. I don't even know how to explain it. And that's the thing that's so hard, is like, I want to share what I'm going through because I'm sure I know other people have gone or are going through similar things, but it's almost like so hard to articulate. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. It's just crazy. And then you get angry and like, it's just a lot. I definitely need to talk to a therapist about just like everything. There's just so many ups and downs and I just haven't yet. And that's something that I definitely want to prioritize, just to like work through my own thoughts and emotions. The other thing that's been difficult is helping my son. My son is 4 and he was super close to my dad. So, you know, he'll just ask like, why did this happen? Or why isn't he coming back? Or how are we going to send him Christmas gifts? I mean, things that 4-year-olds say. He asked like, well, did he leave me because he didn't love me? And I was like, oh my God. So things like that are just really hard. And there's just moments where you're like, how do I answer this? And then again, it's like, see, now I'm going to start crying when I start talking about my son. But it's just like, I wanted him to see him grow up, like my dad to see my son grow up. My brother's getting married in a couple months and like my dad and my brother are close and my dad's not going to be there for my brother's wedding. He's not going to be there for my sister's college graduation. Like, there's just so many things where it's just like, it's easy to get angry and just like wonder why. And I think the thing that's just so frustrating for me is that this was a preventative surgery. This was supposed to extend my dad's life. And my dad was not one for like medical intervention. Like, he did this for us because he like, I'll just tell the story. My dad had a really bad cavity and they were like, oh, you need a root canal. And he was like, I'm not doing a root canal. Just pull the tooth. Just pull the tooth. I don't need it. Like, that was my dad's perspective. Sorry, I'm getting really hot. But he's like, just pull the tooth. Like, I'm not going to do all that. Like, that was his perspective on things. So this is not something that he would have chosen to do. He was doing it for us. So it's just hard. And fortunately, like, we are like a religious, faithful family. We believe in God. We believe in heaven. So that helps with James and like with explaining things. Like, God isn't, or oh my God, Paka is what my son called him, is in heaven and he's with, you know, my grandma who just died in December, and like, you're gonna see him again. And so that definitely helps, but it's just hard. It's just really, really hard. And I still can't believe this is happening. So hug your parents, hug your kids. Appreciate life is what I've gotten out of all this. Not to sweat the small stuff as I'm sweating. Don't stress about the small stuff. But anyway, I just wanted to say thank you for your patience. Thanks for listening. The other reason why I haven't edited a lot of those videos is because they were videos from March to May when my dad was still alive and we obviously didn't know he was gonna die. And I think he's in some of the footage, which is why I've been having a hard time even looking at the footage. And also just seeing myself and seeing, obviously I didn't know he was gonna die. And so I just like, I look at myself and I'm like, if only I knew. which I know you can't, but like it's hard for me to edit. It's hard for me to look back at that and look at us and be like, gosh, I wish we had known, or like I wish we could have, if I could go back to that moment. So it's been really hard for me to get through the footage because of that kind of stuff. So anyway, I am gonna get caught up on them because they are still beautiful memories and I want to have them, and that's why I love having vlogs to share with you guys, but also as like selfishly as like home videos. So I'm gonna get through them, but it's just not easy. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for being here. I hope that this, one, gave you some clarification, and two, maybe helps somebody who's going through something similar. So thank you. Thanks for hearing me out, and I will see you in my next video.